So I'm going to give you guys a review of the BRS 7-stage 200 gallon per day system, and currently it's the best system that BRS makes at the current moment of the time it's recording, obviously. And I'm going to give you guys kind of a review of that, a rundown of how it works, and let you know if it's worth it or not. And if you stay tuned, I'm also going to give you guys a little tour of this room, because if you just watch me on YouTube, you probably haven't seen it. But if you do follow me on Instagram and all that, you've definitely seen this a million times. But so if you want to stay tuned, I'm definitely going to show this room off a little bit while we're at it. But so turn this camera around. So it makes the 7-stage a lot more better than most. Obviously, depending on where you are and what your water is and what's in it, you really don't need this big of a system. And even I didn't need one. I mean, at the most, I needed like a 5-stage. But this gives you so much. It'll last you way longer, meaning less changes with this many filters on it, and you're guaranteed to have the best quality water to come out of this thing. So it was really a no-brainer to me. I mean, for even if it was $100 more, it just seemed worth it to me. I mean, something that's gonna last me a lifetime. But so what we have here is we have a sediment filter, 2 carbon blocks. That's usually standard. And then obviously with this extra system, these are all resins. So you can see cation, ion, and then a mixed bed. So all these, you'd have to look on their website and actually watch their videos on it, because I couldn't tell it better than they could about what these all actually do. I know obviously the sediment and carbon, that's self-explanatory, but the resins of each one, which each do, they could explain it 10 times better than I do, and of course they make way better videos, so definitely watch them for sure after this video. But and you got these two up here, up there, and the top one is actually a water saver, obviously with the 200 gallon per day, instead of having that 3-to-1 ratio, meaning it makes, so every 3 gallons of water makes 1 gallon RO, so that's quite a lot, right? So what that saver does is split that basically right in half, so now it does 1.5-to-1 ratio, which is a lot better. And for some reason, I think mine actually gets better than that. Like, I think mine gets less than 1.5, because if that was true, it would be filling up this waste container, a lot more. And sometimes it doesn't even fill up halfway. The only reason it's really filled right now because I've been using other stuff in it. But I think it might just be because the system's new, or I consistently flush the system, or I don't know. But it definitely gets better than 1.5 for me. But so that's what these two do, and then obviously you got your flush rod back there, which is nice and easy. Some people forget to do that. That's kind of important. I just do it every time I use RO, so basically I do it every day. It's best to do it that way, but I mean, if you just do it maybe every couple weeks or a week, as long as you're doing it, because some people will totally forget, and that starts to ruin it, and then you have to replace that way faster. So if you do it every time you make RO water, that's just gonna make it that much more efficient. And I just flush out, maybe run it for 10 minutes and flush it out, no big deal. But so obviously, what's nice about this room, let me get something sharp here to open this up, is I have a main water line in my closet. Obviously this is a basement, so my closet actually has the door for the shut off the main water supply. And also when we were building this house, we had a spigot for a hose, obviously when we need water and stuff. And so we left it on there, and that made it nice because I could hook up my RO system. So it goes down there, and it's just a short route, and it just goes straight out the wall, just to make a little cleaner look, so I can close that up, and it doesn't even look like it's even hooked up to anything, which is nice. So it goes in there, and then obviously it goes through all these D's, and then it comes over to over here, and then goes through all these, and then obviously this is the finisher line right here, and which goes all the way around and then up and over and into the bucket. So, and the nice thing about these systems, and especially the BRS, I don't know if the cheaper ones do have it. I'm not sure because I never did check on that, but I know definitely on this one you get the triple TDS meter, and that's real nice. So you can check, there's 3 different points. I know this is the third one. I think the second one is right after right after it leaves this system, and then the TDS one is like right before it even hits the system, so you know what it is coming in, what it is coming out of this system and then what it is coming out on this system. So that's quite nice, and that also helps to know which one you do need to change and if you do need to change anything. So that's really nice. You can kind of keep track of that, and you'll get to know your own system, and eventually you'll know, what your TDS should be reading at most of the time. So definitely keep track of that when you first set it up. So so obviously my line, I made it come out through this top hole just for a neater look, and then I have it wrapped around. The only reason I have it like shooting up and around like that just because so the hose doesn't get bent, but it goes straight into the ball valve right here, and then I have the little connector that they always have that they show off. Ooh, out of focus. There we go. So I have the little connector so it's nice and snug in there, and then also it goes straight down into the float valve. So that's pretty simple. And then same thing over here. So once this exit this, the line comes over here, and this one's a lot neater. It just goes straight into this one. So I can shut that off if I need to. And then it goes straight into my waste bucket. And you might be asking, why does it go down a drain? And that's because where I'm at, this is kind of the only space I can make RO water, and RO water is pretty important to me, so I needed to do it and have it for my planted aquariums. And I had nowhere to waste the water, so all the waste goes into a separate bucket. But what's nice about having that water saver and it not using that much water is I can get, like, this is a 55 per trash can and this is a 44, so I could fill this whole thing up, and this won't, like, this, and this will perfectly fine, and it'll collect the right amount of wastewater for that to, not for that to flood or anything. So it's like the perfect amount. So if you want to do the same as me and you can't, have a drain, you have the same situation as me, just get you a 44 or 55 and you're good, as long as you have the water saver. Because if you didn't, yeah, you'd probably literally need like 3 of these. That's how insane the water saver does. It saves a lot of water for sure. But so yeah, so I always turn the system off when I'm done with it. So like I'll turn it on in here, and then it takes about maybe 3 or 4 hours to fill this 44 up, and then I go ahead and turn it off because there's really no point in keeping it on. I mean, it's nice to keep it pressurized and it automatically makes water, but when I'm already using this water, I'm already gonna turn it back on myself. So it's really, I don't need to really do all that. But then, so explaining my bucket here, I got my heater down there. It's a Fluvo E300. The reason I use that one is because it has the light indicator, so I can just look down there. Except there's so much surface agitation, I can't really read the temperature on there, but I know it's set right. And if I see a green light, that means it's good. So, and then I have 2 high door circulation pumps. They're both 1150. So this pushing like 2,300 gallons per hour, which is like, I'm not like making salt water or anything, so that's like way overkill. But I just like constant circulation because you get less buildup when that way. Like the bucket stays nicer. It doesn't get all gunky. You get a lot of nasty surface agitation. And when you have this much flow in this tank, which is so much, it's like impossible for anything to actually build up. I mean, it might build up here on the sides or anything. Get a little bit of gunk, but that's no big deal. Like everything else inside here is just like you don't ever have a problem. It just makes it less for I get all nasty and makes it look nicer. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say about the system. That's a quick rundown, and I guess the main question that you might be wondering, is it worth it? Yes, it's 100% worth it. Bulk fruit. There's others that are more expensive. There's commercial ones. There's ones that can make way more water. But for the aquarium user, for the regular aquarium hobbyist, this is like as good as it gets. Bulk reef supply. I'd recommend it to everybody. It's really the only one I would recommend, honestly, just because you get, not only do you get what you see here, you get so many other parts and accessories that it's just universal. So whatever your setup is, whatever you have going on, it's gonna be covered. You don't have to buy anything extra. When you buy this system, you get everything you possibly need. So it just makes it so nice. But this system's running about 400. Their sale, you were actually able to get it like $40 or $50 cheaper, which I did. But even at the main price, like $420, whatever they had at retail, that is way worth it, especially for this system. And over time, the cost, obviously, I haven't had it for that long to where I had to change any of these filters yet. But I should get approximately a year out of all these. we'll just see. I know you could see like already it's turning like orange, but obviously it would have to all turn orange to even be done with that. But I'm hoping like once a year, and they replace all these is like $80, and that's including I think those two up there too. So that's not bad at all. That's basically like $10 a filter. I mean that's literally nothing. So I'm excited about that, and that long term is not going to cost very much to keep running, but we'll just see. Obviously I'll let you guys know eventually on my long term success with this, but I have no doubts. I've seen many people use the same system, and I've heard what they have to say. I have no doubts that this is going to do the same. But yeah, other than that, I don't want to make this video too long. So, quick tour of the room real quick. So, the closet door is right there. So I got, all my tools hanging up there, and then I got my first little fertilizer shelf right here, so I can just, put those in anywhere, and then I got all my tools I possibly ever need, again, fertilizer shelf. And then I basically just got this one shelf where it's just like categorized, but every single thing you could ever need, some remineralized, some substrate additives, some drop checker solutions, meds, more fertilizers, additives, food, and then like just a million accessories and stuff, heaters, test kits, media, sponges, ADA substrate, ADA sand, and then down here is just kind of a mess of supplies right now. But I'm hoping to get more crates built to where we can actually like start collecting rocks again, so I can have like escaping supplies underneath like I did before. But and then over here I have this is just basically a little hang station where I have the two nets, which are probably going to get new nets because I've had those for literally 10 years now, but there's some nicer ones that I might be trying to get. So nets, razor, and then some airline tube, and then obviously my hose cleaners, and oh, and then yeah, that's basically it. But one thing now that I saw this hose on the ground, and then obviously I got a pump in there, and that goes out to a hose, and then obviously all I have to do is bring the hose to the tank, and it fills right up. I usually probably clamp it down, but yeah, other than that,